Hello, welcome to the Hydroelasticity Lab. This is Javad Javaharian. I'm a fourth year PhD working under Professor Gilbert. In our department, we have different areas to study different aspects of ocean engineering. In this lab, we focus on the experimental study on fluid structure interaction. We have great facility and equipment here that were the main motivation for me to choose Virginia Tech for my graduate studies. So the first project is to study the slamming of high-speed craft, and specifically the high-speed craft that have flexible bottom structures. So for that, we have this great big tank here. It's made of acrylic sheets. It's transparent, so we can see through it. We have a setup which is made of 80-20. It is located on top of the tank. This setup provides us with the pure vertical motion. So we can have different models. We can drop them using those two guide rails that is already implemented into the setup. And we can test different aspects of the water entry or that impact of the model with the water. So here we have a wedge model that the wedge represents a section of the high-speed craft. We have plenty of sensors inside the model. We have different pressure sensors to get the hydrodynamic pressure. We have accelerometer to measure the acceleration. We have potentiometer. We have two high-speed cameras located on top of the setup. And with that, we use a technique which is called stereoscopic digital image correlation to get the full field structural deformation of the panel during the impact. Because this wedge model that we have, it has a flexible bottom structure. We also have another camera located underneath the tank. Because the tank is transparent, that looks at the bottom of the structure and that capture the contact water line that we call it spray route, again during the impact. All of these measurements are synchronized using the DAC system, another facility that we have here, because we want to make sure that we have a synchronized measurement, because we want to study the interaction between different specs of this specific problem. Alright, so now the wedge is attached to the electromagnets. So now we are going to use the DAC system here. So we have a DAC system, a pulse generator. When I press the button, we cut the power of electromagnets and basically we let the model to release and to drop. And at the same time, the DAC system orders all the instruments, including the 3 high-speed cameras that we have, to start acquiring the data. So get ready. We're gonna drop it in after countdown. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now the test is done. All of the measurements are saved through the DAC system. Now let's go and take a look at the results.
So we talked about the importance of the slamming, and we explained how we simplify the problem into water entry of a wedge. In this experiment, we are interested in this point, which is called spray route, the pressure distribution, the kinematics, and also the structural response of the panel. We talked about the setup. We introduced the cameras that we use for the DIC technique. This is the other camera, which is located underneath the tank. And with that, we can get the spray route propagation due to entry. So here at the left video, we can see a video captured by the bottom view camera. You're looking at the spray route that is moving. Actually, this is the wedge that is descending into the water. This is a spray route which is propagating, and you can also see the pressure sensors. The spray route that we get from the bottom view camera exactly corresponds to the spray route that if we can have a camera in front view, as we had here for another test, this spray route here exactly matches with the spray route that we can capture from the bottom view camera. So we use the images from bottom view camera, we conduct the image processing, and with that, we can get the spray route propagation. For the DIC measurements, here at left, you can see a 3D view of the measurements coming from the digital image correlation. This is not the simulation data. This is exactly the measurements of the test that we just saw together. And here you're looking at the structural deformation of the panel, as well as vibration of that as it's entering into the water. So this is for the flexible composite panel. We just, for the comparison, we can compare that with the similar results, but for another model that was flexible aluminum panel, it was having a lower deflection. But here you're looking at the 2D view of that measurement. So instead of the 3D view, you're having the 2D view. You can see the contour of the deflection and also the corresponding pressure data, which is exactly synchronized with that measurement. So here we have the hydrodynamics, we have the structural response. We talked about the spray route propagation in the previous slide. We studied the interaction between them, and we also studied the effect of the panels with different flexural rigidity and how the flexural rigidity affects all these measurements.
So the final phase of the water inter project that we were discussing would be to conduct new experiments in the Virginia Tech Advanced Towing Tank, which is under renovation, and we'll be testing actual model of high-speed planing craft that would be an extension to the work that we are doing. For the other project, which is funded by NSF, we are interested in evaluating the natural and active reconfiguration of highly flexible panels in proximity to and interaction with a free surface. This project is inspired by manta rays because they change the stiffness of their flapping fins during the motion when they are swimming, and they do that to reduce the drag. So inspired by that, we want to combine the water entry test, similar thing that we just discussed here for highly flexible panels, and we want to combine that with oscillatory heave motion so we can mimic the flapping motion of those manta rays. And again, in the future, in the towing tank, hopefully we could add the forward motion to these two oscillatory motions that we just discussed, so we can simulate that better in order to study that specific problem.